Here, we believe there's a fungal problem. There's also a shade problem in part of it. And then there's another small area that is lack of water. That happened to be an area that was just patched with sod. We can show you what all of those look like and how to address them to recover as quickly as possible without using chemicals. As you know, I'm not a big fan of fungicides. We think the way to improve all of these problems is through soil life. I'm John Valentino, landscape architect and a landscape contractor, and I'm here with Chip Valentino, my assistant, who is tuned into these turf problems from years of experience. And then Enrique is behind us, and he does the maintenance on this garden. He's the one that called me to help him solve the problems, because this has always looked good year after year, and all of a sudden it doesn't look good, and they're trying to figure out. The main problem, I think, is a fungal one, and yet it doesn't scream out fungus. It's hard to distinguish between lack of water, fungus, or shade. It's kind of like from elimination that I arrived at a fungal problem, because when we turn on the irrigation, plenty moist everywhere, no dry spots, head-to-head coverage. I could tell it wasn't water. I could tell that it wasn't fertility, because you can see how green the lawn that is growing. We check exposure, adequate sunlight, we check for pests, then we eliminate things, and we're left in this case with a fungal disease. It's kind of missing that pattern that you usually see in some kind of fungal disease, although it does have it in a small way where there's all these little spots that started to die, and then it died in bigger areas. We're going to make the lawn as healthy as we can make it. We're going to make the soil as healthy as we can make it. And we believe that the best way to defeat a fungal disease is with beneficial fungi, because it's that beneficial fungi that can eat the offending fungi, which is usually weaker than these good fungi that we're going to build in the soil. This house has a west exposure, and that west exposure allows most of the lawn to get a lot of sun. Now, right now, Chip and I are standing on the very north side of a hedge of photinia and olive trees and Bradford pear. You can see the lawn looks bad, but this lawn is a different bad. You can see it's just thin everywhere, and it's the characteristic look of too much shade, and Bermuda will not thrive with shade. There's really no solution other than you could really try to thin out the trees and let in more light, or you could change the type of lawn. Sometimes there's an attempt, but with highly skilled maintenance people that have a lot of time and resources, you could seed something like a chewings fescue in the shady part, which is a fescue that you can make look like Bermuda. Perfect example of too much shade. Bermuda won't grow in too much shade, and we don't have a lot of good options here. Our hope is to get the rest of the lawn as healthy as possible, and that we wouldn't mind this slight trail off in vitality as we get close to the north side. So here we're at the same landscape on the other side of the driveway, directly adjacent to the driveway, which tends to be hot and hard to water. This was an area that the owner patched recently. They bought all new sod, and so about a week and a half ago, put in all new sod that looked fantastic. When I see dryness right next to the hottest part of the yard, which is next to the driveway, and yet green, lush growth on new sod away from the hottest part, I immediately know that that's lack of water. It's hard to put in new sod when it's 105 and not have some drying out. You know, the sod, all its roots have just been cut off, it's been shipped, and then you lay it out, and you have to be watering, over-watering really for the first day or two. Well, this, I can tell the first day or two or three got underwatered, and so we ended up with this dryness. I think it'll come back pretty fast as long as it's properly watered. Look at that, it's rooted, rooted pretty good. And I think it's gonna sprout from under this dryness. It's gonna sprout, I'm pretty sure, as long as they keep watering it. But it did root fast. The nice thing I like about using our products to treat it is whether it was lack of water, lack of fertility, fungal issue, I would pretty much treat it the same way. We'd use a lot of our blend and we'd use a lot of our penetrate liquid biotiller, and we'd get the lawn and the soil as healthy as possible. So this is a 40-pound bag, and we used on this lawn, which is about 3,300, 3,400 square feet, we used 2 of these. So that's a very heavy application of blend. 20 pounds per thousand is pretty heavy. If I know I have fungal problems, I'll probably go 25, 30 pounds per thousand. So I like to just throw it on like this. So blend is a proportional mixture. 1 part optimize, 2 parts nourish-biosol, 3 parts maximize. Optimize is like concentrated organic matter, and that really is a long-term type thing. It breaks down slowly and it attracts all the beneficial life we want to attract, but over the long term. Then the nourish-biosol is a really good fertilizer made from the bloom of cultured soybean and cottonseed meal. That bloom is really good at attracting and feeding beneficial soil life. And then the maximize, that's the one that actually has soil life in it. It has beneficial bacteria and fungi, including the most famous fungi, mycorrhiza. And it has a lot of minerals in the form of ground up basalt from old lava deposits. When you put all those together, you've got a tremendous soil builder. So we're throwing it on here. I don't usually throw it on with the chip behind me, but it is very safe for pets and for kids. You see some dust, I'd want to keep the dust away from them. So the Penetrate Liquid Biotiller has 2 bottles because we want to keep them separate. One is the beneficial bacteria and the other is the food for the bacteria. This is a backpack sprayer, holds about 4 gallons of water. I'm going to put about 3 or 4 gallons of water in it. And it doesn't matter how much water you use. Water is just a carrier to get this product spread. You see a hose bib anywhere? So what I do just to make it faster, I take off the nozzle and I just kind of fling it around. And it's not even, obviously, but this isn't like fertilizer. We just want to get all of this product in the area that we want it, and then, you know, through water and stuff, it'll spread out. If I see a particular spot that I think needs help, I could focus on that, but mostly I'm just going to fling it around and try not to chip it all. We've talked about and shown you how we applied the products to treat this lawn with fungal disease. And if you want to follow its progress, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be monitoring it and probably film it every couple of weeks and see how fast it recovers.